Okay, we're getting the go-ahead that we can start our council meeting tonight. Thank you, everybody, for joining us in the council chambers and on TV. Spanish Fork City Council meeting, November 19th, 2024. We appreciate, again, everybody being here digitally or in person. We'll get things started like we always do in Spanish Fork with a prayer, motivational thought, and then the pledge to follow. Councilman Took has the motivational message, and then Councilman Euler will lead us in the pledge. Councilman Took.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll go ahead and give the prayer and then introduction to the thought after. Our dear Father in heaven, we're grateful to be gathered this evening as residents of Spanish Fork and grateful to serve this city. We're thankful for all the opportunities we have to make it good. Please help us and guide us in our decisions and in working together to do our very best to make this and continue to make it a great place. We're thankful for all the support we have from all the different organizations within the city leadership, the city employees, and grateful for those who made this a priority tonight to be with us, and pray for their safe journey returning home this evening. We love thee, Father, and pray for these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
For tonight's thought, it's kind of special to me. So exactly about a year ago, my father went to serve a mission with my stepmother in South Africa for the LDS Church. And so he's been gone as I've ran to be a city council member, as I've onboarded this past year and learned how to become a city council member. And so he just returned home, and I'm just so happy he was willing to come down this evening and join us to share a thought. And I'm excited to hear what he has to share with us. But he lived here in Spanish Fork for many years. When I was growing up, he lived not far from where my mother lived, and that was truly a blessing and wonderful. And we love this city, my entire family. But he was able to come down tonight, and so the thoughts from my dad tonight, Bill Took, and I turn the time over to you, Dad.
Yep.
Well, I'm grateful for the invitation and the opportunity to share a thought with you this evening. Yes, my wife and I recently returned home from serving a church mission in South Africa. You know, we studied before we departed for our mission to help us understand the circumstances and conditions of where we were going to live and serve. You may have heard this thought before, that you don't know what you don't know. Well, to say the least, we were very humbled. We were assigned to live in a very small rural town called Queenstown, which is located about 12 hours by car away from our mission home office, which is located in Cape Town. The living conditions in this area are very different from what we are accustomed to and enjoy here in the United States. The majority of the people there live below the poverty level. At times, it was very challenging. There are no furnaces or air conditioning in the majority of their homes. In many cases, their homes, especially the ones located in the townships and villages, were very small. Literally what we would call shacks or sheds. Many of the homes were made out of corrugated metal or cinder blocks with only dirt floors. Temperatures at times would vary from a high of 108 in the summer to a low of about 32 degrees in the winter. We experienced random and frequent power outages, very poor water quality, very limited medical services. Most of the public roads were unimproved dirt roads. Plumbing most of the homes did not have indoor plumbing. Public sanitation was very poor. And very minimal police and mail services. Plus, the constant awareness to be cautious of not contracting the local infectious diseases of malaria, yellow fever, and monkeypox. One of the important things that we learned while we were there is how very blessed and privileged we are to live here in Utah Valley and in the United States of America, and to be grateful for the comforts of life which we have been blessed with, which many times I have taken for granted. I'd like to briefly just share one experience with you. Our mission was to work closely with the young men or the missionaries in that area Unfortunately, sister missionaries were not allowed to serve in our mission because it was much too dangerous. I noticed that one of our missionaries, a young native black person from Swaziland, and Swaziland is at the tip of South Africa. I noticed that his clothing were not in very good condition. He was very humble, didn't say anything, and didn't complain. I was prompted to invite him to go shopping for some new clothes. One day we went to the local store and I purchased him a new suit, white shirt and tie, and some new shoes to wear to church. Afterwards, we grabbed something to eat for lunch. While we were having our lunch, this young man became emotional and with tears in his eyes shared with me how grateful he was. He said that this is one of the greatest days of his life. He said that he had never been shopping for new clothes before in a store, that all of his clothes were hand-me-downs or had been given to him to serve his mission, and that he had never had lunch in a restaurant before. So my thought for you today is a reminder. At this time of year, with the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday, I encourage all of us to pause and to reflect on our many blessings that we've been given and enjoy, have been given and enjoy, especially living in this country, for our freedoms, for our safety, for our good health, especially for our families and our comfortable way of life. Let's all try to be more grateful for what we've been blessed with and strive to have an attitude of gratitude and be mindful of those around us that may be less fortunate or in need. I close with a quote. Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others. Gratitude can transform common days into Thanksgivings, turn routine jobs into joy, and change ordinary opportunities into blessings. When we give cheerfully and accept gratefully, everyone is blessed. I am very grateful for your generosity and willingness to serve the citizens of this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Bill.
Appreciate that.
Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone, for that. Appreciate it. Takes us to item C of our agenda. Jack will introduce our Spanish Fork University graduates.
Is there walk-up music? Is that everything?
No.
Put your tassels on the other side.
Okay, well, good evening, Mayor and Council. I'll ask the graduates to come up at the end of some comments here, and we'll take a picture of them. I'm not going to put any of them on the spot by asking them to sing the Spanish Fork University fight song, though we all know it by heart, especially the stirring second verse that's a tribute to rodeos and roundabouts. Over these last 10 weeks, our graduates have experienced pride and progress firsthand. As they've spent a couple of hours each week with different departments and divisions, they've seen personable community interactions and innovative local government services. Our incredible staff members made this possible. They love what they do, and they gave their all to welcome these students and show them the heart of Spanish Fork. Whether our graduates were navigating police scenarios, operating heavy city equipment, and don't worry, they were all safer than I was with the mini excavator, or participating in a mock city council meeting, they didn't just learn what we do, they learned why we do it as well. Congratulations to our graduates. You're officially insiders now. Thanks for choosing to engage with our city in such a deep way. So with that, I've asked Wendy Osborne, one of our graduates, to share a couple of minutes of her experience, and then we'll have everyone come up.
I feel so official, a graduate. I hope I do justice in speaking for our class and saying that this was a tremendous experience, and I know I walked away with an immense amount of gratitude for our city and where we live. I also wanted to quickly thank all of the employees for taking the time to put together presentations. It was very evident that they were very thoughtful in what they're presenting to us and really giving us as much exposure into their lives and what they're doing for our community on multiple levels. And it was such an honor to participate in that. And there were so many experiences that were interesting and engaging, and things that, that I know I learned. And I feel like when I say this for all of our class, that there was just so much information that was provided that was so useful and helpful, and an overwhelming sense of gratitude for where we live and the city in which we live in. There's lots of organizations out there that do hire, or you pay to hire and find the best talent. I don't know what Spanish Fork City is doing, but y'all do it the best. I'm telling you, we have the best people in Spanish Fork City. And so I was very impressed by the employees, and like Jack said, not just what they do, but their why. It was very evident that they cared about what they're doing. They cared about our city and doing the best that they could. And we have the best people working for our city. And so I want to just congratulate our city employees for what they do every day that makes our lives comfortable to have water and our own TV station and fast internet, and show up when we're needing help, or the ambulance, everything, all of those things. And so I know I've said it before, but I believe God establishes our boundaries, and I believe we have the most beautiful and blessed boundaries here in Spanish Fork, and it truly is a home of pride and progress. And it's an honor to be a citizen in this city, and it's an honor to have participated in this whole program. It's great. I think everybody who moves into Spanish Fork should do it. So anyway, thank you so much to our city for putting this on, and thank you to our city employees for everything they've done. So thank you.
Thanks, Wendy. Thanks, Wendy.
Okay, those who are here, if you'll come up to the front, and we'll take a photo in front of the City Council.
If you wouldn't mind, after we take a picture, we usually have you start with the chief and shake hands. It's usually a good thing that you get to shake law enforcement and the attorney's hand, and it's not in a scary situation, right? Yeah, I might take Jody away. Yep.
Don't run your name.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just trying to take Mike out of the picture.
Mike or the mic?
Oh, sorry, this Mike. Not you, Mayor.
Take him out. He's center.
We have tried many times.
All right. 3, 2. I don't think I can get one like this for your screensaver. Sorry, you'll have to kind of.
I don't think you meant to do that. Because that's pretty witty.
Thank you, guys. Start over there with Chief. Thank you.
Thank you. I've done this before. Thanks again. Thank you. It's good to see you again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good, thank you. Thanks, Wendy. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Super. Yeah, thank you. Hi there. Don't listen to a word she says.
Friend.
It's been a week. I'm glad you did. Happy for you. Awesome. Congratulations on the knee. Yeah. Can you talk Carrie into that, please? No.
Before all the graduates out of the room, just another big thank you from the mayor and council. It's in the day and age where our time and attention is taken so many different ways, it speaks a lot of you all willing to spend that considerable amount of time away from your jobs, families, and everything else to come learn more about your city. I think about how we live, and Wendy said it very well. When you live in a community, you sign up for kind of a contract, a social contract, if you will, right? None of the services that you saw and learned about are free. We're all paying for them, either through taxes or fees in some kind of way. But a contract has two sides of it, and I think you saw on the employee's side the care and the love, like you mentioned, that they feel a part of that contract, and so for the exchange there, it's not just about the money, but it's about serving your community that you live in and that you love, and so you guys are a credit to that as well, because you're taking time out of your busy lives to learn more about it. So thank you again from the mayor and council. Thank you for your participation. We appreciate it. Take down your college diplomas and put that one up. Good replacement. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate you running that. Again, this is our third graduate class? Oh.
7.
Okay. Wow.
So, yeah, third year, right?
Third year, okay.
So we're welcoming the 8th class in the spring.
And we have a couple of graduates from the
first class.
3 of us.
you three?
Yep.
Holy cow! Wow. They've grown up so fast. Thank you, Jack. Good work. Appreciate it. Okay, it takes us to item 4 on our agenda, the public comment section of the agenda. This is where the public can come up and address the mayor and council and for any general things you'd like to. This is we try to limit this to 3 minutes to be considerable of everybody's time. If you want to come up, please state your name so Shelley can get it in the minutes. But this is your time to address the mayor and council if you'd like. Please come up.
Hi, James Berkey. It's no surprise that there's a lot of car washes around. It seems like, every other week there's another one popping up. And I have no idea why. I barely see anybody at them. So my proposal for the city council tonight is that we triple the property tax on that and put that money in a fund on the side so that we can start developing a roller coaster park. Because roller coaster parks are way cooler than another car wash.
Thank you, James.
That's it.
Appreciate it, James. Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Okay. Seeing none, we'll go to council comments. I will say that, James, we have discussed that internally as a council, the amount of car washes. There's other cities that are taking some steps there about car washes in communities. So you could see some upcoming discussions about that would involve the public, obviously. Yeah, well, that might be a little bit down the road. Yeah, thank you. Council comments, let's start on this end with, did we do you last time? Did we start with you?
You did some random thing last time.
Yeah, we messed it up. Okay, well, we'll start with Councilman Took over here, and we'll see if it goes this way. We'll see.
Okay.
I might switch it up. But Councilman Took.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mayor. All right, I've got a couple things this evening to share with you all, a couple exciting things. First of all, just to go off the heels of the graduation from Spanish Fork University 101, and some of you are still here, and there's the picture of all the graduates. So Paul Dayton, he left. He was here, one of the graduates. He's in the white shirt, back row, dear friend. But he reached out to me just recently, sharing some thoughts about his experience in this class, and I just wanted to share them with you. I thought they were so wonderful. He just said, I just finished our last Spanish Fork 101 class. Please give feedback that I absolutely loved the experience. I think it's something that's special that helps us become sort of ambassadors for the city. From my perspective, everybody was very engaged and enjoyed the experience. He went on to say some other really nice things, but I just felt like the city should know that. And like was said a minute ago, everyone, especially who moved to Spanish Fork, should take this class. It is the best. I loved it myself. It takes you to the next level. It gives you a peek behind the curtain of how amazing this city is and what it takes to run it and make it so great. I loved attending the graduation. It was so fun to be a part of that. I can't believe how many classes we've had graduated. But that's my thoughts for that. So our Chamber of Commerce president, she has some sick kids this evening, and so shared a couple thoughts for me to relay to you. I'd like to just pass those along tonight. And so here's some Chamber of Commerce updates for the city. First off, we have a new networking event this coming Thursday here in 2 days, so on the 21st, and it will be at the Veterans Memorial Building. Chick-fil-A is sponsoring the lunch that day, and we'll be doing stuffing stockings for Tabitha's Way. And so that'll be a really wonderful one. If you'd like to participate, please show up at noon at the Veterans Center. Also a reminder about the Winter Lights Parade. You're seeing some advertisements around town for this. That will be held on November 30th at 7 p.m. here on Main Street, just right outside. We'll be starting that here at City Hall. A little different direction. We started this different direction last year. We're trying out some new things with that. So there's our flyer for that. That's something you do not want to miss if you've not attended that. It's a must go to. Lighting of the Christmas tree after as well, Santa Claus and everything. It's amazing. Also, another update from the Chamber. Uptown Cheapskate in Spanish Fork is officially open for business. This is a brand new ad. We cut their ribbon cutting for them last week. They're located, just so you know, they're next to Sherman-Williams, right across the parking lot from Joanne's. And then lastly, for the business of the month, this month of November is Mountain Mike's Pizza. We don't have a date yet to celebrate them, but if you follow the social media newsletters for the Chamber, you'll be informed. And then I just had a couple final thoughts in regards to relating to the Chamber of Commerce as well. I attended our monthly board meeting this last week, I believe it was. And it was so nice to have, as I luckily always have, the support from Dave Anderson here with me to help answer and field questions from our chamber. So we attended that. But just a couple of highlights, takeaways, at least for me to share with you, are that we have 3 new board members. So they just got going this last week. It's exciting to have some new leadership in the Chamber of Commerce. Also, they're working. We had a yearly summit recently in Provo, and the Chamber's working to make that an even bigger event, kind of a bigger conference with a business educational focus eventually is what they're working towards. And I thought that was kind of good to know about and something for us all to be excited about. So I believe that is it. Looking through all my notes, and yes, Mayor, that's all I've got.
Thank you, Councilman Took. Appreciate that. Councilman Cardin.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a few things. I sent Jack some pictures, but I'll start with first talking about Youth City Council that I was able to attend. They are busy getting ready for the holidays. They'll be helping with Tabitha's Way, with they're doing stuff with the library this next month. They're doing stuff with just a lot of different things. Again, a great group a great organization that does a lot of service in our town. The other committee meeting that I was able to attend is our Arts Council meeting. Lots of things happening there. We do have some of the Christmas concerts coming up, and I don't have the date in front of me right now, but if you go to the Facebook page, they have that on there for the chorale. This is, I know, going to perk Shane's interest, is they have decided on their play. They have not announced that yet. It is under lock and key at this point, but it will be announced soon, so you'll be able to try out soon, Shane.
All right.
Okay.
Just let me know when.
Okay, will do. They did notice that you weren't there for SpongeBob last year, so it was noticed. Second, Jack, if you can go ahead and pull up those pictures. The Utah Valley Chamber held an event this last month, the Growth and Prosperity Conference, where we had some local leaders and some state legislatures there. Spencer Cox, our governor, was there talking about a lot of the things that we are dealing with here in the city of Spanish Fork, the housing crisis specifically, and then some other things. And this was, was it the day after the election? Yeah, the day after the election. So there was a lot of talk of that. But there was also a lot of talk of coming together and really growing together and working through the challenges that we have, because growth is a challenge. And then Senator Mike Lee was there as well, representing that delegation. So thank you to the Utah Valley Chamber for putting that on, and it was a really good event with lots of different people. I think Commissioner Gordon spoke there. Mayor Mendenhall had a little cameo there. There's a lot of things going there. So. On the next picture, today I was able to go at the Rotary down to Tabitha's Way, and I don't know why that blurred his face, but I didn't take this picture, so take that for what it's worth. So we had this group of Rotarians there, and we were putting together these bags, and you would think that they were putting them together for the Thanksgiving bag give or dinner giveaway that they're doing this next week. But they are actually already prepared for that and ready to go. But we were preparing for the Christmas basket giveaway, which everyone should have a flyer here next to them to make sure we get signed up to go help do that. It was awesome to see these Rotarians going crazy and getting it done quickly. There's a lot of cans, lots of things going into those. They are going to be giving away upwards of, I think, 500 to 600 bags or meals for Christmas and Thanksgiving this year, each holiday. So one of the things that they have noticed down there is that their supply chain, or their donation chain, I should say, has been hurting a little bit because there's a lot more people coming down to Tabitha's Way. So this time of year, there's a lot of ways to give back. This is one of those ways that you can give back. So if you have that opportunity, either donating non-perishable foods. Macy's also has like a cart in front, so if you're just grabbing a few extra items there's a lot of ways to give back that way. And that's all I got, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Cardin. Councilman Euler.
Thank you, Mayor. 5 days ago, Spanish Fork City made what I consider to be a pretty big announcement. Pretty exciting. So if you follow the city on social media, you noticed that the building directly north of where we're at today, the old Thurber building, was officially listed on the National Register of Historic Places, which is really neat. The Thurber building was constructed in 1910, and served as a school until 73. So 63 years of students that went through that building, many of which still live in Spanish Fork and have fond memories of the teachers and the classes that they took in this building. And so pretty exciting. Currently serves still as our city administration building. No plans at this point to change that. Jack or Tyler, Tara's not here, so I can't ask her. Maybe you can take just a minute to explain what this means and maybe next steps with the Thurber building. I know people ask, what are the future plans of the Thurber? What are our intent? What's the intent, or what are we wanting to do with it? Maybe you can explain what being on the registry means and help the public understand a little more of that.
Yeah, happy to do that. So it was probably about a year ago that we started this process. It's a little bit of a lengthy thing to actually make it onto the National Register. And we're grateful that we had some staff members that worked for community development that were able to help us fill out the documentation ourselves. Usually there is a consultant that would help to do something like this, and we were able to do it just with our staff and team, and so we're grateful for all those that contributed that way. Now that it's on the National Register, some of the questions that we get asked is, I think there's a general conception that once it's on there, you can't really do much with the building. You can't change it in any way, things like that. Those are some myths that are out there. So, and also that you can't that the building will stay in place forever. The owner still has the ability to do what they want with the building. In regards to the city and the benefits to the city, it helps us with grant funding. That's probably the biggest advantage to the city in having it listed on the National Register. I'm trying to think anything else. You asked a couple questions.
No, I think that covered. Do we have any plans to put a plaque or do anything in that regard as far as to recognize it and let people know when they come to the building that it's on the registry?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know that we've talked about that with you being on the historical commission, preservation commission. If you've had conversations like that, it's definitely something we can talk about. But
yeah, it'd be good. There are not a lot of buildings in Spanish Fork that are on the registry, and so it's kind of a big deal. Exciting. So, yeah. Then Jack, next item, if you could go to the city's webpage. The Spanish Fork Historic Preservation Commission's had some updates to our webpage, and I just want to show people how to get there and what it looks like. So if you go to SpanishFork.gov, up in the top left you've got Government. If you go to Boards and Commissions and scroll down here, you'll find a section called Historic Preservation Commission, and you'll see the link there that will take you to our page. Inside of this page, it talks about different programs and different projects that we're working on. If you go up a little bit more, if you've driven down Main Street just this last week, you've probably noticed the veteran banners that hang on Main Street. What a great addition to our Main Street during the Memorial Day and Veterans Day holidays to be able to see those. If you have any interest, if you've got a veteran that you would like to honor, you can come to our page here and you can see the button there, purchase a banner, and it gives you the details as to how you do that, the information that gets added, and how long they'll be up. So any questions, you can go to our website there. If you scroll down a little more, another thing that the Historic Preservation Commission's been doing is our monthly lecture series, which we had last night. If you are a freedom-loving individual, I would invite you to come and watch this presentation that took place last night by Laura Dixon, where she spoke about the Constitution, a cause worth fighting for. She did a fantastic job. I learned a lot about the history of our country and our Constitution, and just how fortunate and blessed we are to live where we do. Like Mr. Took shared at the beginning of our meeting, we are blessed to be in the United States of America. So you can come here and see all of the past lecture series that have been shared. We've had some really good ones, and you can also see the calendar item to the right that shows upcoming lecture series. So I just wanted to make the public aware of this website, this resource that you can go to and learn about what's happening with the Spanish Fork Historic Preservation Commission. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Kevin, can I ask a question on that?
Yeah.
Back on the banner thing. It looks like to get into it, you need to sort of nominate somebody or have someone in mind for that. But I would bet that there are folks out there that would be happy to give whatever money it takes to do that, but they don't have a veteran to honor them.
They just want to possibly donate.
Yeah, so if we could maybe tweak that a little bit to have that as an option.
We've had that conversation with staff as far as trying to figure out ways that people can do exactly what you described, be able to donate and put funds to the side, so that if somebody wants to nominate or provide a banner for their veteran, but maybe they don't have the funds to do so.
Right.
There's funds available, and so we'll continue having that conversation with city staff. And
it'd be great if there was a list of veterans that didn't have funding yet that I could be like, I want to.
Love it.
Or
Great
someone
idea.
could. Yeah.
That'd be really cool. Great idea. Yeah. Thank you, Shane.
Thank you, and Councilman Euler, appreciate that. Maybe just to touch a little bit on the Thurber building that you talked about. Very cool to be on that registry. I think what Tyler was getting at with the funding aspect of it is, I think it's cool that we have an old building that gets on the registry that is used. It's not just there to look at, but these people have offices in that building and work there every day, and dozens of people do. So I guess on to go a step further on the funding aspect of it, the bones are really good of that old building, but we could show you some places inside the guts of that aren't so good, right? And so the goal there is everybody that works in that building want to keep them safe on a day-to-day basis, and that takes
money,
a lot of money. And so now this being on this registry helps us be able to access some of those funds, and so you might see some of that happening. It's not intended just to be something we look at from the outside, but something that's working on the inside. So very cool stuff and good work by a lot of people. Thank you for mentioning that, Councilwoman Beck.
Okay, I first want to report on the airport board. Just to let the council know, next spring sometime, the board will probably be making a proposal of some landing fees and other fees for the airport. The reason being is to cover operational costs, including security, utilities, and regulatory compliance, general revenue needed for the airport, just operating the overall airport. Many of you drive by and see the growth down there, and this year alone, they're almost at 100,000 landings in 2024. So they're busy, and they need some extra funds coming in. So we're going over what that looks like, possible landing fees. So that'll be coming across your desks in a couple more months as we're studying that out. And then last night there was a town hall meeting right here in this room. It was for a fly-friendly initiative where a lot of the local pilots came and they looked at the map and just kind of gave suggestions to the airport board, not the board, but they all just communicated like what would make this practice better. So that was really interesting to listen to them and just talk about what's going to be safe down there at the airport. So, and then second is I took my granddaughter to see the Drama Dons perform the Phantom of the Opera. If you watched last City Council, we had the two leads come in and sing, and they blew me away that night. And so I took her, she's 10 years old, and they nailed that. I could not believe the talent of all of these kids, well over 100 kids. I think all of the kids in the drama department are in this play. They were fantastic. Just want to give a shout out. I believe they go through Saturday night, but you can hop online and at Drama Dons and look at that. But if you're free, I recommend you go. It's really good. So that's all I have.
Very good. Very good picture. Thank you, Councilwoman Beck. Councilman Marshall.
Just a few things. Apparently, my committees meet less regularly than the rest of y'all. I seem like I have nothing to report today.
Oh, you need to go to them, Shane.
Stacy.
Just kidding.
Right here in public?
Reported.
Man, it's true. Just again, congratulations to the Spanish Fork University graduates. That is pretty cool. We are very happy to share what we see with other folks in the community, because it is fun to get that behind the scenes look at things and really understand how decisions are made and how difficult some decisions are that are made. So I think it's great for them to come and witness all that. Need to give a shout out to the Dons this Thursday, playing for their first national. We're going to just jump right past state. State championship in a very long time, it turns out, a very long time. Probably no one in this room was alive when we sniffed at the last one. But it's pretty cool. I, unfortunately, will be in Alaska, which is good for the Dons, honestly. It seems that if I'm not in town, we have a much better shot of winning the state title than if I'm in town. So good luck to the Dons. I will definitely watch it on TV while I'm in Alaska. So good luck to that. Other than that, I don't have any committee meetings to report on.
Thank you.
That didn't go down.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Marshall. I don't have any meetings to report on either besides just the Dons and best of luck Thursday, 6:30 up at Rice Eccles Stadium. They already had a fantastic showing against the number one team in the state last week, and were able to come away with a W there. So I hope I'm not off on this, but I watched it on Channel 17. Travis, do you know, are we going to plug into that KSL feed again? I'm looking back at our guys. They're checking. I don't know.
Hunkered down so you couldn't see him.
Yeah.
He'll let us know.
Okay. He'll let us know.
Oh, okay.
Because that's how I watched it last time, was on Channel 17, but it was KSL's feed. I'm sure there's a way to watch it on streaming KSL.
Yeah, it's just a matter of getting the rights and coordinating that. So if we can get them, it can be there. If not, we can let you know other sources that you can turn to.
Sweet.
Watch for more. We'll put it out if there's a way to that needs to be watched besides that. We'll let you know.
We don't when the Dons are playing in what's the name of our stadium? We need a cool name like Lavelle Edwards. I'm not going to say the other one,
Yep.
but
Mike Minino.
Yeah. Or if Maple Mountain's playing it there, we have the rights to do that. But as soon as they get into state tournaments, those rights are owned by somebody else. So we always have to work with them. A lot of times they let us broadcast because they prefer that we broadcast it because they like our quality. That's not necessarily the case with football, but with baseball, that always seems to be the case. They like what we do, so they say, how about we let you do what you do, and we'll just use your signal, and you can broadcast that one too. Not the case with football, but we'll let you know. We'll put it out. We can put it out on Facebook, right? Maybe with the anthem.
Okay. Yeah, with the anthem. Yeah, link it together. I think, great coaching staff, great kids, and a lot of people down here in South Utah County are excited to go see that in a couple of days. And I think part of the credit has to go to there's a few kids in that senior class that were lifting sandbags a couple years ago, right?
Sure.
So if you're seeing them running through tackles,
That's why.
it's because they were helping the flooding river a couple of years ago and getting bigger muscles because of it. So,
yeah, if I remember right, we had a couple of SEC schools come out there while we were putting sand in bags to check out one of those.
what a cool story. If
Yeah,
we
it
can
was
pull
really
this
cool.
off, that story will come back up where coaches from all over the nation were coming to watch kids lift sandbags and make it save their community. So very cool stuff. Go Dons. Let's take care of business, and we'll talk more about that after it's over. That's all I have. We'll go to staff reports if there's nothing else from the council. Manager Perrins.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I sit on the dispatch board for Spanish Fork, and this year there is an audit that all dispatch centers in the state of Utah have to complete, and it's an audit of the number of transferred phone calls. So the legislature has created a law that encourages and incentivizes all dispatch centers to transfer fewer calls. I dial 911 and I get to this dispatch center. That's not the right center, and so they need to transfer me to another one. Typically, that's probably a function of cell towers choosing, which dispatch center you go to. But the legislature doesn't want dispatch centers to do transfers. It slows down the response. So the idea or the goal would be that this dispatch center can take the call and through computer-aided dispatch connect with the other jurisdictions and dispatch. So the caller, it's seamless to the caller. Our dispatch center has almost 100 miles of I-15 that we cover from the border of Point of the Mountain on the north to the border of Juab County on the south. Not Santaquin and Juab County, but the end of Juab, the southern end of Juab County, where it abuts whatever county is south of them. Is that Millard County, maybe? So about 100 miles, not quite, but about 100 miles of freeway. Our challenge is every one of those calls that comes into our dispatch center from a caller on I-15, we have to transfer to a UHP dispatch because we can't dispatch for highway patrol. So it's interesting in our call volume of our dispatch center. Well, in our call volume, we transfer about 11% of calls. The goal and the incentive starts at 2%. So our dispatch center is very far beyond the reach of that goal. So we're talking with legislators and working with state representatives to try to adjust the law, because there's no way we can dispatch for UHP. And so we're just disqualified because of the stretch of highway that we have. And as we visited with legislators, they're comfortable with us proposing this change. And so we're going to be working on that this legislative session. That's something that's coming up from our dispatch center. And I'll have a little bit more information for you shortly, but this is something that's coming, and we'll probably ask one of our representatives to head that up, or at least be the House sponsor of that bill, if we're able to get that through a senator that has been the dispatch senator. So I think that's the only staff report I have. Do you have anything, Dave or Corey? Okay. Matt, you're like chomping at the bit over there. Nothing. Okay, that's all we have, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you, Seth. Appreciate it. That takes us to Spanish Fork 101. The Festival of Lights and the library are on the agenda tonight. It looks like we've got...
Let him duke it out.
Yeah,
Let's
who
see
wants to go
wins.
first? Yeah, race. Emily, you're up.
Well, I lost, so I'm here first. Just teasing. Thank you very much for allowing me some time today. I don't know if you guys have looked outside lately, but it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas in Spanish Fork. I'm sure you've seen everything from the city park being decorated to the Christmas tree outside on Center and Main Street has been. They've been working on that the last few days, and Corey and his guys will be working on the Main Street the structures here pretty soon. Festival of Lights, we started the 1st of September. So it takes a long time to get everything going. We started repairing structures indoors the 1st of September, and then when the park closed on October 1st, we were able to go and start setting up those structures in the park. We feel very comfortable. We're ready to go for Festival Lights. It's been great weather for setting up, which we've only had a few snow days, which is very nice. I actually, out of all my years in Spanish Fork, I usually just sit in my office and check on them at the park once or twice a week. Well, this year I've been foot on the ground every day at the park. So I've been out there working side by side with our guys. And I do want to give a big shout out to the golf course crew, to Dallin and his team, and Janice and her team for setting up everything. We've even had Corey's guys with the electric department. They came up and helped us yesterday setting up those big structures, which we couldn't do without them because they have all the heavy equipment. And then our Parks and Recreation department has helped out a lot for setting up Festival Lights. And then I'm sure you guys are all aware, this year we're doing something a little bit different with ticket sales. We're doing advanced ticket sales. Our goal is with advanced ticket sales is to give the customer a better experience so you don't have to wait in line as long. That way you can make your reservation on sfcitytix.com, and you can go ahead and select your day and time and purchase those tickets ahead of time. We do understand that there will be some people who may decide, like while they're driving down US 6, hey, I want to go to Festival Lights right now. And that's fine. You can get online and buy your tickets while you're in line, or your passenger as you're driving down the road. You could do that. Or if you do end up coming to the ticket booth and not realizing you need to do the advanced tickets, you can still buy your tickets at the ticket booth. It will cost a little bit more. It'll be $5 more per vehicle. We don't guarantee 100% that there will be openings, but we hope there is. We really don't want to turn away anybody, so we would like to encourage you as much as possible to buy your tickets in advance. We started our pre-sales on November 1st. We've sold 1,300 tickets, which I was surprised, but it's been great. People who want to make sure they get in on Christmas Eve or Thanksgiving, which Thanksgiving is when we open, a lot of ticket sales have sold on that time. We're super excited. Every year we have new structures. I'm sworn to secrecy. I can't say what the new structures are because a lot of people, that's part of their family fun, going into the park and looking to see what's new. All I'm going to say is that there's 3 very large noticeable structures. There's 6 smaller structures that go with a bigger structure, because everything has to tell stories when we're designing things at Festival Lights. So we always think of these cool things to add to it to make it a little bit better. And then we have another structure that is refurbished. One thing with Festival Lights, we don't really throw away anything. So anytime a structure is older or outdated or something not working, we find ways to repurpose it. So you'll notice that a lot of the structures out there have been there since day one. So, and Seth, you look like you have something to ask me. He's over there smiling. Yes, Shane.
So let's say it's the opening night. I don't have a pre-bought ticket. I sit in that line for however long it takes. I could get turned away because there's no openings for me because it's full. Is that how that's how that's going to work?
We really hope not.
How will one know whether it's full beforehand?
You can actually look online on SF City Tix. You can actually click on every half-hour time frame, and it will tell you how many tickets are available. So if you are worried about that, what you could always do is go and look ahead of time. And let's say if you're looking at, let's go at 6:30, and he's going to bring up some examples. As you can hover with your mouse over that, and it will tell you how many tickets are available. So let's say you're thinking about 6:30, but all the tickets are sold. you can go ahead and select the next time frame, and you'll be fine. We do encourage people to come a few minutes early. So if you are in line at 6:15 and your ticket's for 6:30, you're just fine.
Okay. I am supportive of the tickets. Don't get me wrong. I think that's a great idea. I love that we pre-sell them and it's going to move much quicker. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out with me, because I'm going to forget to do it, just randomly showing up one night and it being full. Turn around, buddy. You're not going to.
I think we can help you with that. And we talked about putting some signs up along the route that says, hey, if you don't have a ticket, scan this, go here, buy a ticket now.
And if it says full, come back.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you can jump out of the line. Candidly, though, it's going to be hard to sell out. We've got 1,000 spots a night.
Correct.
And I don't know that we've ever had 1,000 but once or twice.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually have 1,000 car nights about 4 times a season. So it's right before Christmas is when we have those big nights. So if you're a person who likes going on Christmas Eve or Christmas Eve, I would buy your tickets now, because those are going to be the nights that you're going to run into a situation.
You may not sell it a night, but you're going to sell it a time slot.
Absolutely, we should. We hope, right? And so, Emily, have you guys designed those signs yet, or do you have plans to put those up that
Yes.
say, hey, Shane, you haven't got your ticket yet?
Yes, we will have that. And then we also have variable messaging boards that the variable messaging boards will be saying that too.
Okay. Yeah, so hopefully we head that off, because we don't want to turn anybody away, especially if they've been in line for 2 hours. Like, that guy's probably not getting turned away, but they might get charged a few extra dollars. And I waited in line and I have to pay a few extra dollars. What we're hoping to do this year, is teach, hey, this is where we're headed. Mm-hmm. This is what you need to do. And then smooth it out. Because we've had cars, I don't know, how long is that? 2 miles-ish? Almost back to the fire station.
Yes.
We're also trying to avoid.
Correct.
Yes.
I foresee some growing pains this year, some angry people this year. But with everything else in our world, this is the way it is. And so I think we're going to learn, and in a couple of years, it'll run really smooth.
Well, the goal is to provide a better experience for everybody, right? So yes, there will be. I agree with you. There'll be some growing pains, and there'll be some angry folks, and they won't make the mistake next year or the next day or whatever it might be. So I like the idea. I'm fully supportive of it. I think just keep in mind that there will be some pains, and for those that find themselves without a ticket and it's full, remember that person taking tickets this is their little job, and they didn't make this decision. It's up here that made it, and there's no reason to yell at someone taking a $10 ticket.
Shane's email's online. Anyone
Absolutely.
can yell at Shane.
It's Stacy.beck@.
And remember Disneyland. We used to get in there any day we wanted, and now we have to pre-buy our tickets.
I love the idea of signs as you approach the entrance, because majority of the people I'm sure that show up are not going to be Spanish Fork residents. You'll have a lot of residents, and hopefully our residents are aware of the change, but if there's a way to let those individuals that's a tradition of theirs, and now they live up in Salt Lake and they're driving down to do this, right? Because this is where Grandma and Grandpa still live. A way to somehow get word out to the non-residents, the people that are going to be traveling to get here, and maybe it's just the signs as they approach the entrance and try and get them as they come down.
I'm actually glad you mentioned that. So we've been collecting email addresses from those who have attended Festival Lights in the past. They have voluntarily signed themselves up on our email list to be notified of these tickets going on sale. So we actually sent out an Everbridge notification to them on November 1st. And we had, I'm trying to think, it was probably close to 5,000 plus emails on that list that we sent out. We've also been doing sponsored social media posts, so you'll probably see that same post show up the same time in your feed. I've been working with our public information officer to actually sponsor that post statewide. So it's not just our immediate area, because we do get a lot of people from Price, from northern Utah. So we're doing our best that we can to get the word out there. And you're right, we don't want to penalize anybody, and we don't want them to get mad at our booth workers, because the booth workers, they weren't involved with this decision.
Yeah, thank you, Emily. That's great.
And the flip side of that, though, is that person that lives in Salt Lake or Price knows that they can come at 6:30 on that day and get in.
Yep.
Right? They don't have to wait for 2 hours. So
Yeah.
there's some huge upsides, and I think the upsides outweigh the downsides for sure. But everyone have a little patience this holiday season, and it'll all work out.
Yeah.
Begin the signs with "Don't disappoint the grandkids." Pre-buy your tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't be a Grinch. Be happy. We're all happy, and we would love for the city council to come out and see Festival Lights. So that's our invitation to you guys, is to come out and enjoy it, see the changes we did, and anytime you have any suggestions of any new light fixtures you'd like to see, just let me know. I'm over at Parks and Rec, and as long as it's something that's not a trademark, we can probably do it. Okay.
Thanks.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you, Emily.
Appreciate all your work. Very good stuff. Mr. Library, Scott Aylett.
Mr. Library. Good evening, Mayor and Council. While we're pulling this up, just kind of a shout out to something that Councilman Cardin had mentioned with the Youth City Council coming December 9th, Monday, December 9th. They're going to help out with a kind of a special project that we're doing. So for a number of years, Santa's elves would come down to the Utah County Clerk's office and help write letters back to kids that wrote letters to Santa. Well, the clerk's office, is busy with some other things, and so last year and this year we've kind of taken it on at the library, and so Santa's elves are going to be pairing up with the Youth City Council to write back some letters to kids that write a letter to Santa. It's a great opportunity for kids to practice those early literacy skills of writing and spelling and those types of things. So if any of you are interested, Monday, December 9th at 3 o'clock, we'll be in the Heritage Room with a bunch of elves writing some letters back to some eager Spanish Fork kids.
Scott, where are you getting these letters from?
So we have a mailbox that we post in the children's department downstairs, and we'll have it available the full first week of December. Last week, we only had it open for like 2 or 3 days, and we had 150 letters that came in. So we'll need a lot of Santa's helpers to write back some letters to some kids. So,
Are you giving them like paper and crayons or pens here at the library?
yeah, they can bring in their own letter,
Okay.
or we've got paper on hand that they can write something here, and then I think Santa's bringing down a bunch of postcards, and we'll write a custom response back to each kid, so they get something back from Santa's helpers. So. Something else that I guess the main reason for coming tonight is a promotion that we're working on right now. So we do benchmarking at the library where we track different statistics, and again, this year we just continue to blow all of our records out of the water. Program participation, attendance at programs, footfall, foot traffic at the library, circulation, everything is up at the library. And the other day I was looking at numbers, and I'm like, wow, we'll be just short of 500,000 checkouts based off of our current projections. And I thought, come on, we can get to 500,000, break every record we've ever had. Last year, our physical circulation was about 460,000. Right now, we're slated to do about 495,000. So we have a program right now. We're calling it the Road to 500,000 Checkouts. And kind of our tagline is just say yes to one more book. So we're inviting and encouraging patrons that as you come to the library, if you're picking up a book, pick up one more book when you come in. If you haven't been to the library, come to the library, pick up a book. Help us get to 500,000 checkouts this year. It would be a phenomenal feat for us, something that we'd be super excited about. Do you want to pull up the first reel? We have Barnaby as our library mascot. He shows up at story times and kind of gets into a little mischief sometimes. But we've put together a good reel where Barnaby can explain the program a little bit better than I, and he's more popular with the kids than I am as well. So,
hey, can you guys watch my dragon for me?
Oh, hi. Bye, Miss Karen. Oh, good. I think she's gone. That means I can tell you about our secret project here at the library. We are going to try to break a record of checking out 500,000 books by the end of the year. So if you can just check out 1 or 2 extra books every time you come to the library, we'll break the record. But we don't want the librarians to know. So Don't tell him. Just check out some extra books. Shh, she's coming back. Don't say anything.
Thanks so much. Was he good? Okay. Hey, can you guys watch my...
So if you'll pull up that chart again, right now we're at about 450,000 checkouts. So what we'll be doing is every 5,000 checkouts, we'll do a random drawing for any patron that had checked out within those 5,000 checkouts. We've got some prizes, some gift cards, some other city swag that we'll be giving away. And then once we hit that 500,000th checkout, we'll bust out the confetti guns, some balloons, some big grand prizes, and make it kind of a big deal because, again, we've never done this before, and it's a big feat. And this is all physical checkouts. It doesn't include Libby, none of our digital content. This is all physical books, DVDs, CD books, walking out the door here at the library in 1 year. So it would be awesome. If you haven't been to the library, come check out a book. If you have, check out one more.
So maybe for Shane's purposes, also games like the
games.
Nintendo
over
games.
The holidays, right? Pick up a board game or a card game, a Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, or Xbox game, which we've added to our collection over the last couple of months. It's hard to keep those on the shelf.
Scott brought a book. He could show me what it looked like.
Oh.
Yeah, I could show you what it
You guys have, for Shane's case, do you have Hallmark DVDs?
You know what? We might have some Hallmark DVDs.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
And if you're like me and you don't have a DVD player or a Blu-ray player,
we just go to Kevin's.
Well, go to Kevin's, or we've got 4 Blu-ray and DVD players here that you can check out. So that's 2 checkouts right there.
Right. Yeah.
You get the DVD player and the DVD.
So if you check out a Blu-ray DVD player, is that 2?
Oh, we separate it. So when we go buy like a Blu-ray and it comes with both discs, we separate them out. We've got. But
Never mind. I think you missed it. But that's okay.
That's what I thought he was saying.
So.
Scott, way to go. This is a big...
Awesome.
Cool.
Hey, Scott, while you're here...
Let's see what other mischief these Barnabys can get into.
While you're here, I got to share an experience I had at the library this last week. So my 9-year-old is in the middle of reading some book series. I don't know what it is, but he loves it.
The Janitor series.
And he's on book 5. So we come down to the library to return book 4 and check out book 5. And we cannot find book 5. So we get in the system, and it's not even in the system. All of the other books in the series are at the library, but book 5. So I went up and I talked to Chrissy, and she checked, and she's like, yeah, we don't have it. It's either been lost or damaged or something. But within 3 days, you guys had book 5. You gave us a hold, and we were able to come down and get book 5 for my 9-year-old. So thank you to you and your staff and the excellent job that you guys do at the library.
Awesome. You're welcome. We're happy to fulfill those patron requests because, again, it's not my library. It's the community library. So we do our very best to make sure that we have the items that the community wants. And patrons like what you did can go submit a request, and we receive those and we vet them, and we'll go out and buy the content that you want to have in the library. So glad that worked out for you, Councilman Loyola.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the council? Great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
Very cool stuff. Very good stuff going on at the library. Okay, takes us to 8 on our agenda, consent items. There's A, B, and C on the consent agenda. Any questions for A, B, and C? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent items.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilwoman Beck. Second by Councilman Took. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Consent items are approved. Takes us to 9, our public hearing for tonight. Ordinance for the Goodwin Acres zone change. Allow for a preliminary plat with 14 lots to be approved as a master plan development at 2976 East, 100 South, about 9 acres. Mr. David Anderson.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Subject property in this case is a bit east of Maple Mountain High School, less than a half a mile.
Is that out far enough for you, Shane?
To the east.
Looks
Pardon
good.
me.
Mm-hmm. What is with the picking on Shane Day today?
Whipping boy.
I'll move on.
Thanks, David. Hey.
This is an image of the subject property taken facing southwest. So the home that we can see there, that's the one home that's on the property today. We'll notice in a minute that it's on, or would be on a fairly large lot if the project gets approved. From this image, you can see off in the distance a little bit power poles for the large power corridor. that at least partly borders this project on the west side. This is an image of the general plan. The colors don't really pop with this, but the subject property is right here. And this color, being a little bit different from what is across the street to the north, indicates that in this area, essentially nothing smaller than 15,000 square foot lots would be allowed and be consistent with the general plan. To the north, slightly smaller lots are allowed. And the zoning situation with this property is a little bit different than what we typically look at, where in this case, the R115 zone was assigned at the time that the property was annexed. This is the subject property. This was all part of one annexation. And everything at that time, again, was zoned R115. So tonight, the zone change part of the request is simply to have the master plan development overlay applied to the project, not to change the underlying R115 zoning. This is the layout that has been recommended for approval by the Development Review Committee and the Planning Commission. We saw a minute ago an image kind of facing in that direction with the home on this lot. There's some other structures on what would be that lot that would have to be removed in order to not violate setback requirements. But simply put, as proposed, the development conforms to the city's requirements for master plan developments in the R115 zone. The average lot size is larger than 15,000 square feet. And what we would see here, if the council grants this request, would be very similar to what's happening immediately to the east on a property here, and that was the west, I meant rather, over here, and what's happening to the east. Really at a pretty quick pace. I'm surprised at how fast homes are being built on larger lots. We've talked to a number of developers over the year that felt like that was not something the market would support. It seems to, really happening in a quick pace, like I said, as if the market's responded very well. But in a nutshell, as I mentioned, relative to the part of this that involves approving a preliminary plat, the Development Review Committee and Planning Commission recommended that that be approved along with the zone change to apply the master plan development overlay. And I think that's it.
Dave, quick question. So is the only, for the master plan development overlay, is it because of the setbacks or is it because of lot sizes?
It's both.
So how far from lot sizes are they from being just in that zoning district?
It's not a long ways. It'd take me a minute to pull up a different image to give you the specific ideas, or maybe
it's not too far.
Nothing that I think would be surprising.
Okay.
No, but I'd be happy to check too.
Cool. So. Thanks.
I might mention one other thing, and the applicants here tonight. This is a plug for the concept we've discussed with the council. You approved the creation of a new zoning overlay, the complete neighborhood overlay, that would conceivably allow somebody maybe to do a twin home in place of a single-family home on one of these lots, or maybe a couple of them, or that type of a thing. We've talked with a number of developers about that. There are a handful that are looking into doing it now on projects in this part of the community. We're going to continue to push somebody to pull the trigger and make that happen. As we do that, there might be a need to make some adjustments to some of the standards that we have in the complete neighborhood overlay. And if that appears to be warranted, we'll be back to talk about that, hopefully with a bona fide proposal to put something like that into action. So,
perfect. Any other questions for Dave before we go into public hearing for this? Thank you, Dave. If the applicant's here and wants to say anything before we go into public hearing, okay. I'll entertain a motion to go to public hearing for item A.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Cardin.
Second.
Second by Councilman Marshall. All in favor say yes.
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 We're in public hearing for item A. Anybody from the public that would like to come up and speak to this item? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to go out of public hearing.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Marshall, second by Councilman Euler. All in favor say yes.
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 Out of public hearing, discussion back up here. Any questions for the applicant or staff on this.
So, Dave, as you were talking, you said all the lots are above 15,000 square feet. Not true?
Average.
The average is above 15,000.
PDF on the.
Okay. All right.
The average.
Do you know what the smallest lot is on there?
But I can pick from that image.
The PDF is hard to zoom in on.
Bottom right.
Yeah.
It'll take me just a second to dig into that.
We're going quick here.
You are.
Yeah, there's something odd about when the PDFs get uploaded to.
Yeah, I don't know why.
They lose their quality.
I'd maybe ask Mr. O'Brien, do you know?
Of course he does. He's just chomping.
Tell us your name, sorry.
Patrick O'Brien.
Thank you.
I'm with the development team. Smallest lot is just over 12,000 square foot. The other lots, then, we've got quite a few of them that are over 15,000, 16,000 plus, just to help balance that out.
How many are under 1,500? Or 15,000, sorry.
Under that, I think there's definitely 4 of them.
Probably in that corner, I'm assuming.
The bottom right corner, and then just as you come in off of the main road, the couple that just come down along there, the first 2 on the right hand side, just because of a depth issue that we encountered, which is why we required the zone change.
Dave, I have one other question. Oh, go ahead, Seth. Sorry.
I was going to say one of the reasons why we suggested the complete neighborhood could work here is you've got those 2 lots kind of on the diagonal where the power lines are in the backyard, and as we consider those, they've got a building envelope that works, but it's not as deep, and so that may be a great place for us to use that and say, can you split those into some smaller lots and do something that would have a smaller footprint of a build, but also still be good sized. And maybe that works, maybe it doesn't. They've been great in considering that possibility as they continue to move forward. But
one other question I had is just, is there a reason why we don't have connectivity to the neighborhood to the west? We have the one to the south, but is there a reason why we didn't include anything to the west?
I'll double check on that as well, but I believe the parcel immediately to the west. So
Utah Power and Light.
The property that's developing to the west, and the subject property here, it's owned by Rocky Mountain Power, and we have struggled to be able to do street connections between or across their property.
Makes sense.
So, Dave, that was going to be my question. Not that exact, but the adjacent property. It's hard when, there's not a lot we can do. We're not the property owners as far as connectivity and other things, but at this point, we're basically landlocking that parcel. So I guess for the future, if anything ever happens with that property, at that point, what can we even do? What could a developer or property owner do? Do we just hope that maybe they make it a park someday? There's not a lot of options once you've built houses and subdivisions around a property.
Well, not them, I'm sure, the park-wise, but if you keep following that corridor, it splits subdivisions, right? And there's park underneath a lot of that corridor that sometimes connects subdivisions to each other.
Jack, do you mind bringing up the city's map on this, just the interactive map, please? And this is totally separate from the conversation of this development tonight, but
it's a genuine concern. I actually appreciate you bringing it up. This property's in kind of a unique situation where it's surrounded on 2 sides completely by parcels that are owned by Rocky Mountain Power. So the street that is planned to extend from this project to the south, that would provide access to property owned by Rocky Mountain Power. The development that's to the west of this one, where Rocky Mountain Power has property between the proposed development and that one, there would be a street. It would come in a later phase of that project, but it would connect to the Rocky Mountain Power property from the west, and then the Rocky Mountain Power property would also have access to the north on 100 South, And we certainly, I would expect a plan to provide access to that property as properties develop from the east towards the Rocky Mountain Power property. So it wouldn't be landlocked. We don't know what's eventually going to happen to it. It does appear certainly as though Rocky Mountain Power owns property there that is not ever going to be needed for their power corridor. So we do try to plan for what would happen at some point in the future, likely well down the road, given at least what I understand today, Rocky Mountain's position is on disposing of property. They just do not like to let it go. It's a challenge for folks to be able to even do what we're talking about, maybe planning for a road to cross their property, or much less, being able to acquire it for development or that type of a thing. But I need a pointer maybe, and
Is it safe to say, though, that, like you said, they could get access off of First? They may not be able to maximize, like some others because of the width, but they've got 250.
So you feel like So Jack, if you could click the parcel.
Yeah. So
that one right there.
This and this and this are all owned by Rocky Mountain Power. So those three. So they'd have access to an existing public street to the north here. This development will provide a street that will follow this alignment here to tie into Rocky Mountain Power owned property here. This project will provide an access here. Okay. And then there's all that potential there as well that I think we would expect that as these properties develop, they would do what's proposed with this project to also make some kind of connection.
Okay. So with the parcel that's highlighted, you still feel like in the future they could get access to First and that they could still develop that if needed?
They could, yes. Standalone, I mean...
It wouldn't be directly to First. It would be
It'd be a roundabout way.
Yeah.
Because looking at... You'd have to, I guess, access it from the south. I'm just looking at that corner piece that's split right down the middle with the wires, and then the top right corner piece is kind of going to be all by itself. And so my hope would have been that somehow the developer would have been able to at least just acquire that corner piece. So you can't build underneath the wires, but you could probably put something on that corner.
Would have been that other developer that would have been able to probably accomplish it.
Yeah, I won't speak for Mr. O'Brien, but we have had dozens and dozens of conversations with developers about doing that very thing. And occasionally Rocky Mountain Power just has easements over private property, and then we're able to include parts of that corridor in lots and that sort of a thing. You can see that with the development to the north.
Yeah.
But I can't remember a case where they've been willing to transfer ownership to a private developer over here to accomplish that. And I don't mean to offer that as an excuse, but that
just doesn't
it's a brick wall. So, and maybe to your point, I think I might have been missing part of it. With the power lines running through this parcel here, its development potential likely is limited.
Yeah.
But yet they would be able to satisfy our access requirement there, and assuming that something were to happen in concert with different parcels owned by the same owner there, that's where they'd have other opportunities for access as well.
Okay, thank you. Good discussion.
Thank you. Anything else for Dave or the applicant?
So, Dave and Seth, if we were to go forward with something with this complete neighborhood, they would have to come back and we'd have to go through the text amendment. We'd have to go through all of that again.
Yeah, not necessarily a text amendment. I think what Dave was suggesting is we haven't had that used yet, so we are anticipating that there will be some things that we'll find when we apply it that, this isn't quite working right. But yeah, it would be a different zone change, and they would come back.
But for what it's worth, I do think that it would be a good use of it in this area.
Okay, if there's no other questions, Dave? Yeah, sorry.
To go back to the first question that was asked, the smallest lot is 11,200 square feet. 7 of the lots are less than 15,000 square feet.
Thank you.
The other I think there are 14 altogether, if I remember right. So the other 7 are larger than 15,000 square feet, and that's where you get the balance of the average being, in this case, greater than 15,000 square feet.
Perfect. Thank you for those numbers. There's no other questions. I'd entertain a motion on item A.
I move to approve the proposed zone change. I move to approve the proposed zone change to be approved based on the findings included in the staff report. That was rough.
That was rough.
You got it.
I think we'd like you to read them all. I'm just
Can I read them all?
You can say it. Just
Thank you.
as stated in the staff report.
I did that.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Marshall and
Barely.
seconded, barely, yes, but he did get there. Seconded by Councilman Euler. It's a roll call vote. Councilman Cardon.
Yes.
Councilman Took.
Yes.
Councilman Marshall.
Yes.
Councilwoman Beck.
Yes.
And Councilman Euler.
Yes.
9's approved. Takes us to new business 10A. It's pretty much the same discussion we had right here. Dave, anything else to add? Okay. I would entertain a motion on item A approving the preliminary plat that we just discussed.
Can I try this again?
You bet.
All right,
Yeah.
thanks. I move to approve the proposed preliminary plat based on the findings included in the staff report.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Marshall, seconded by Councilman Cardon. A roll call vote here. Councilwoman Beck.
Yes.
Councilman Marshall.
Yes.
Councilman Took.
Yes.
Councilman Cardon.
Yes.
Councilman Euler.
Yes.
A of new business is approved. Takes us to B, the reappointment of Brad Meller to the Airport Board. Mr. O'Brien, thank you for being here.
I think that explains it mostly. Brad Meller has been serving on the airport board for the last 3 years. His first term is ending here at the end of the year. He's expressed interest of continuing there. Our airport board manager supports that. We recommend that as staff. So
He goes through things with a fine-tooth comb. He does a good job.
Yeah, he's a pretty detailed guy. Huh?
Yeah.
long-term hangar owner and invested in the airport. So
Perfect. Thank you, Corey.
thank you.
I'd entertain a motion for the reappointment of Brad Meller to the Airport Board.
I move to accept the reappointment of Brad Meller to the Airport Board.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Cardon, second by Councilwoman Beck. Roll call vote here. Councilman Euler.
Yes.
Councilman Cardon.
Yes.
Councilman Took.
Yes.
Councilman Marshall.
Yes.
And Councilwoman Beck.
Yes.
Brad Meller is reappointed. Thank you, Brad, for your service and continued service. Takes us to C, Sixth Amendment to Land Exchange Agreement. The Sixth Amendment? Was this the Constitution?
We're looking at you, Corey, but are you not the right one?
Somebody taking this?
I'll be glad.
Because it says airport, yep.
Hopefully this is the last
Seth
time,
can
right?
fill in any blanks. I don't think this is a new item. This is the Sixth Amendment, and essentially asking for a little more time to make this land exchange happen. As we've approached this, we're in discussions with Springville City on the exchange here. This does gain perhaps more developable or a better layout for the airport if this exchange can happen. The San Miguel owners are very interested in this. This is probably the last, am I saying this right, Seth? The last request to extend. I think it goes through the end of February as a request to close by then.
So if February comes and goes and it's not happened, then off the table.
Yeah, we're going to meet with Springville one more time, and representatives from San Miguel are going to come to that meeting, and I think we've described it as the last ditch to try to resolve some of the differences that we have.
We can develop the airport and use the space as it sits today. This exchange maybe would make it more uniform and give us a little better development along the runway. So,
No pun intended.
Nope.
Thank you, Corey. I'd entertain a motion to approve the amendment to the land exchange agreement at the airport.
I move to approve the Sixth Amendment to the San Miguel Valley Corporation Land Exchange Agreement.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Beck, seconded by Councilman Marshall. Roll call vote here. Councilman Took.
Yes.
Councilman Cardon.
Yes.
Councilman Euler.
Yes.
Councilwoman Beck.
Yes.
And Councilman Marshall.
Yes.
Item C is approved. Takes us to item D, resolution approving the 2025 annual meeting schedule. 200 meetings. Yep. Sorry.
3,000 meetings.
Feels like it some years.
I'm sure it feels like 200 meetings sometimes. Maybe more than 200 meetings a year. This resolution sets the annual meetings of the City Council and the Planning Commission for next year. The state code requires you to adopt an ordinance setting the typical meetings or the normal meetings, but our code requires you to adopt a resolution every year kind of setting down the actual dates of those meetings. And we vary sometimes in July and December based from the normal schedule to accommodate for holidays and fiesta days and things like that. So the table is in the resolution outlining the actual dates of City Council meetings and the same for Planning Commission meetings. And then the RDA meetings and LBA meetings will happen on normal, regularly scheduled City Council meetings just as needed, and further notice will be given when those meetings happen.
Didn't we talk about the December meeting needing to be after the Planning Commission meeting or the third week of the month? Or did you guys decide to change that?
I thought we were having it the second week, right?
Maybe we
the
missed
10th or the.
So when is the commission meeting? It's on this
on the 3rd
thing. It's the 3rd.
It's the 3rd, and you have it as a second for City Council.
You see that being an issue?
It would be the 9th
Dave?
next year.
I think that meeting is supposed to be on the
9th is what it would be.
For some reason, we can change it just if that's what you prefer. State that in your motion. We'll correct the ordinance.
Well, we're good to have it the first week of December. It's just I think that for work to be done, right?
It's better for council. It's better for planning commission, and that's the time where the mayor would usually be gone.
Is the 2nd?
Would be the 2nd. So
I was going to say the 9th.
The intent, I think, from last meeting was to have one meeting in July, or 2 meetings in July, 1 meeting in December.
Right. Yeah.
December being the 9th.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry we missed that one. Any other questions or concerns with this resolution?
Everybody get that on your schedule for date nights that want to come to council meeting.
That's all they want to do.
Okay, with that slight adjustment in December, I'd entertain a motion for the 2025 meeting schedule.
I move to approve the resolution approving the 2025 annual meeting schedule.
I'm going to call out that adjustment.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Change in December 9th.
Moving, yes, December 2nd to December 9th.
Perfect. Motion made by Councilman Took.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Cardin. Roll call vote here. Councilman Euler.
Yes.
Councilwoman Beck.
Yes.
Councilman Marshall.
Yes.
Councilman Took.
Yes.
And Councilman Cardin.
Yes.
Perfect. Item D is approved. Thank you for that. Do we have
Mayor,
closed
before
session?
we adjourn,
Yes.
so there's a resident in the audience that has some pretty good comments, some good comments to be made about the Festival of Lights, and she didn't get a chance to talk about them during that conversation. I'm wondering if we could give her 3 minutes to just express her concerns. I don't know if we have answers to them necessarily, but at least get them on the record in front of the council. If it's totally out of order, I understand that, but I'm just maybe take 3 minutes.
Yep.
Stacy?
Sure. Please.
And thank you for the email. Appreciate that.
Sure. I didn't see anywhere to sign up, so
You say your name in the mic so she can get it down. Sorry.
Do I need to move this?
There you go. Perfect.
I'm Stacy Hymas.
Thank you.
And I live in the Canyon Crest neighborhood where the Festival of Lights, the cars run through, like to line up. And I know, I guess it got changed a couple of years ago from Highway 6 to that Canyon Crest neighborhood. I know that pretty much all of my neighbors are not happy with it, like running through the residential area. So I just wanted to bring up that concern or let you know, like, just represent them in that.
Canyon Crest, remind us where the Canyon Crest
It's along Canyon Road, and then it goes...
drops off the hill by the golf course.
I mean, and Personally, I'd be concerned too about the road that goes down, like if it gets icy or whatever. Like, I don't know
We don't want
if it's
people
very
stopping
safe.
on 6. That's the biggest
Yeah, generally this area, right, is where you live. If you look on this map right here, generally in this area.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a great question, great concern, and candidly, what we talked about in the beginning about the Festival of Lights is trying to address to some degree what you're experiencing and not having long lines.
Right.
In 2020, we experienced a significant change to the Festival of Lights where the lines got really long.
Mm-hmm.
And being a resident up here, and I live up on the East Bench as well, there are nights where I would see the Festival of Lights back up on Highway 6. With 1 or 2 years of the Festival of Lights backing onto Highway 6 and literally having cars pulled over on the side of the highway where speeds are 60-ish miles an hour, that was a significant safety concern for the patrons that were coming to the Festival of Lights. So moving them off of Highway 6 and into what we would call maybe the side streets was a lot safer for everybody, those traveling on Highway 6 and those wanting to be here. Understandably, some congestion may exist for the people that live about there, those areas, and we've tried to work that.
Yeah.
I think we've gotten better. The first year we were figuring it out. The second year I think we got better.
Yeah.
This should help that. That's our intent with this, to even
Hopefully
out those
the
spikes.
tickets will
Yeah, hopefully that's the intent. We've got a decent amount of queuing that can happen without spilling out into those areas.
Yeah.
But that's kind of a trade-off that we had to weigh between the danger of having the lines on Highway 6.
Yeah.
And honestly, from our perspective, I think I'd say we said that's not an option. Like, we don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
We don't want bad things to happen from that circumstance. So this change to the ticket system is directly targeting the concern that you're expressing. We hope that it works.
Yeah, for
We
sure.
think it will. We don't know that it will, but we think it will. Is that helpful?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
Still frustrating, but helpful.
Yeah, it makes
Use the new road out of the neighborhood. Do you know that one I'm talking about? Head
Yeah.
east on Canyon Crest and get out onto 2300 East. That new connection.
Yeah.
Just past now Spanish Oaks Elementary. If that area gets too congested, go west.
Can I say I'm really grateful for that road?
Absolutely.
Because,
So are we.
Because I felt really concerned that if there was an emergency,
Yep.
no way to get out.
Yeah, that road was always planned, but it takes
Yeah.
development sometimes to solve those challenges. And it's a tremendous gift to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, somebody's mad about it, I'm sure. But
There was a public meeting where somebody said don't connect. Right?
yeah, for sure. They lived at the end of the cul-de-sac, right? The dead street, right? The school, we love it for the school. Like, Spanish Oaks was in the middle of hard to get to. How do I get there?
Yeah.
Now it's
For sure.
much easier. Yeah. So then you had another question.
The merge on 6.
Yeah.
Going uphill.
So my husband almost experienced an accident on both sides because there were cars being crazy, and he was just going along normal, but he had to dodge cars. So I am concerned about that middle lane merging in.
That's a zipper. That's a unique zipper for. Give me a better way to describe it. I mean, that's the right term, but the zipper.
You're doing well. Not going to back you up. No. So I saw a Facebook post that, or another post somewhere that said this is the only place in the state that has the left turn, the left lane merging.
Yeah,
that's not true.
That's not true. It is different than what people would expect.
It is significantly different, and I mean I've been in that industry forever, and the first time I drove through it, I'm like, what are we doing here? But if you think about the logic around it, it's if it would have been the right lane that merged over, now you have semi-trucks in that lane trying to merge over into quicker traffic, and that's the logic behind it. It will take some time to get used to it, and I think that there's probably not enough signage and arrows leading up to that merge to make make the change happen today, because it is. I mean, it happened in a time where it gets dark early, so it's dark before commuters come through there. There's one sign that's up on the signal that's tough to read at night. So there's some work to do. Absolutely, the project is not finished.
Okay.
They're going to come back in the spring and finish it all up. But that's something we're going to communicate to UDOT on.
Yeah, it's a UDOT road, so we don't own the project. We have some feedback at the beginning of the really mostly at the beginning, and then they just take it over. I mean, they don't take it over; it's their project.
Yeah.
But I think something that will happen. I think you and I, as users of Highway 6, we have been historically conditioned that I get off the freeway and there are 3 lanes, but the furthest to the right lane is going to die. It's going to end at, 8th, I think is where it was a must exit. And now I have 3 lanes until past there. So once traffic realizes that, then you'll start to see the semis, like Shane says. The semis will be moved over, and then it'll be kind of off to the races between Shane and I. He'll win, but we'll be kind of who gets into the zipper first.
I think that one of the biggest areas for signs is getting those trucks into that right lane, because that's where I've seen the biggest concerns. They're all in that middle lane, like you said.
Yep, that's where they've been traditionally. That's where they're stuck.
And I think that's 100%. What GPS is probably telling them. Get in this lane. And, and that will adjust, but it's new.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks for appreciate it.
How helpful was that? I mean,
hey, it feels good to at least say it.
Yeah,
we appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Sticking with us. Appreciate it, Stacy.
Yeah, no closed session.
You bet. Yep. If there's nothing else for this body, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Or are we going to closed session?
No closed session.
No closed session.
I move to adjourn.
Motion made by Councilman Cardin.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Marshall to adjourn. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
We're adjourned. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Appreciate it.